How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards, and trans rights supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, you can get the fuck off this channel. This is the finale of Squid Game Season 1, Episode 9, One Lucky Day. If you want to see the full-length reaction for this, you can check it out in the description below. It's free for everybody. Hey, everybody gets the finale for free because I'm super nice. That's how we roll on this channel. So, nothing more to say, nothing more to plug yet. Plug some more at the end. Let's get into this. Okay, where do we even start with this? I mean, oh boy. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. So, Sungwoo and Jihoon playing Squid Game together. We got a little bit more of the VIPs there and everything like that. But yeah, like, also the, like, again, the extreme coincidental nature of the series with the rain falling down. But then we do I do like the explanation we get of just like rain knows when to fall. Good rain knows when to fall. Like, there is a saying for that because it is such a thing in media that, like, people know. And I mean, in real life it happens plenty of times too. It feels like it's the times where it's like, you know, you only notice it when it lines up, but still, where it feels like the rain knows when to start pouring when you're at your saddest. But yeah, again, having, like, saving Squid Game for the end because it's the most physical of all the tasks, because it's the most, like, you know, brutal and everything like that. But again, what were they expecting? Because, like, did they think that anybody was going to just complete the game? Jihoon is probably the only person on the planet who would have completed this game, because most other people would just kill the other person, and then you're done. You win. And so, again, I don't know how much I buy into, like, Ilnan's whole thing of, like, the, you know, all the VIPs are so bored with everything in life that they want to watch this, and this is more entertaining. I don't know if this is more entertaining or not. Again, out of all the Death Game series I've seen, the games are the least interesting part about all of this. It's all the in-between stuff where, like, all the in-between stuff is what is the stuff that the rich people go to watch for, right? All the arguing, all of the big emotions and stuff like that. And even out in the field, they couldn't hear them. So it's like, what is the point? Why are you watching this at all if you can't even hear them? Like, if you're not here for the conversations between the two people, what are you here for at all? Like, and, you know, I do think that still fit. I don't think that's unrealistic. I just think it's insane to me. Like, I cannot wrap my head around that kind of person, but I know that kind of person exists. I mean, that's why we are in the world we are in right now, of just people don't really care if they get to see something. They just want to know that they are hurting somebody, know they are putting somebody in a bad spot in life or something like that. Like, if they know that they are making somebody's life worse, that makes them happy. That is really just what 99% of rich people want. And so, like, I get that. It's just so hard for me to wrap my head around that. Whereas, like, you know, I do get the, like, yeah, if it's a really, like, entertaining game to watch and you're listening to the inner turmoil of everybody involved, that would be, you know, what I would think is entertaining. But I guess they just want to see people get hurt and they don't really care about anything else. They just want to see people die. That's it. If they were just being shot to death, it would probably be equally as entertaining for them. And, like, the only one here who, like, wants it to be, like, a game is Ilnan. All the other ones don't really seem to care that much. Like, you know, the one guy was like, you know what? I'd be more interested in sex than watching this. So it's like, yeah, these people don't really care about this stuff that much. If these games are, like, when they say, oh, they get bored with everything, and then this is the only thing that brings them joy in life, well, I mean, clearly they're still having joy from sex, so that's not true at all. That's just, like, what Ilnan says. Like, he is a horribly unreliable narrator. But probably, again, one of the most vicious villains I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, man, we want to talk about Sungwoo or Jihoon being manipulative throughout this. Probably the most manipulative. Like, I've seen so much of the pretending to be your friend, but then actually I'm the big bad evil guy things, but none of them have worked for me in this way. None of them have gotten me this attached to the person, and this to the point where I refuse to believe it up until I have to hit a broken point, and I was like, no, you are just the worst possible person ever. We've this whole time going like, oh yeah, DX2's the fucking worst. Oh yeah, Sungwoo's even worse. Oh yeah, and then now it's like, no, being twins. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. Oh, I love that scene so much too. The only thing is like that scene is probably not going to live on in my mind that long, just because like it's such a amazing scene up until the very end where the police come and probably gonna kill that homeless guy, and so it's really not an uplifting scene of like, do you truly trust people now? And at the end it's like, nope, the one person who went to go save the homeless person called the fucking cops on him. Absolutely shit fucking message there. God damn, do I hate that scene so fucking much. But everything aside from that was excellent. Just that was the worst fucking message they could have ever possibly had at the end of the season. But yeah, and in going with that, I was really going along for the entirety of this whole series with the policeman stuff is interesting. It's not really mattering at all, but it's interesting to have this in the thing, and I'm curious how it's going to tie together in the end. I guess it's just not. I guess it was just didn't matter at all. Like, it didn't matter. It barely told us anything we didn't already know. I don't know. If I was, like, the one complaint I would have about this whole series is just, I would cut out the police stuff in general. It didn't really go anywhere, like, both that and then the end scene there. Because it didn't really go anywhere. Like, for the policeman who was, like, investigating everything, it didn't go anywhere, and it didn't really matter. And I'm not sure if the reveal of, oh, the front man is his brother is worth it. I think if I was, doing this, I would definitely take that out. It just doesn't seem... I don't know. It's the one parts that were a little bit boring at times, and the fact that it didn't go anywhere and it was pointless and the police still suck is just like, okay, well, so it wasn't even propaganda. Why were we doing any of this? But yeah, I do like the fact that like he's seemingly not really using the money for himself at all. Ji-hoon, he's just using the money for other people, which is the best way to go about doing this. He's living his life the same as he was, but now he is, realizing that, like, well, if I just sit here and don't do anything with this money, then I'm just as bad as all these rich pieces of shit. I have to be doing something with my money. I have to be helping other people. Like, that's what brings about that funk, too. He starts smiling again. He looks a lot better once he starts to help people. So we're definitely going to have, like, a season 2 at some point, which I would not have expected. And, I'm curious. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, I'm probably going to watch it. I'll probably do reactions to it, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. Because, like, I don't know, this felt like it could get wrapped up all in one thing, and there's so many death games that just go on forever and ever and ever and then have a very disappointing ending, whereas this would have a very satisfying, all in one season, tie it up in a tight knot sort of thing. But, so like, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also, worried about, how they're gonna do it. Like, I hope it's still as satisfying as this season was. And, next season, though, seems like it would be way less focused on the games than even this season had, which, to be fair, I would be more up for. Because, like, yeah, this is one of the most unique death games I've ever seen in terms of that. I mention all the time, but I still gotta keep mentioning it. Just, yeah, the fact that, like, the games are of so little importance. I mean, they're not of so little importance, but they're of so little screen time. And, it's just not the main focus of the show. The main focus of the show is the in-between stuff. That is the stuff we're spending the most amount of time on. And, yeah, I really appreciate that. I talk about Kaiji so much. The part we're on of Kaiji, we're on part 6 of Kaiji, and each one is like, basically like a season of an anime or whatever. Well, I mean, part 6 has been going on for a long ass time though. But yeah, I really appreciate that one because they're not doing any gambles or any games or anything like that. It's just like what this episode was essentially. Like, you have the money, and now we're just kind of trying to figure out how we have the money. Like, once you have the money, how do you do anything with that money? Yeah, I appreciate it. Also, like, comparing this to Kaiji is, like, fucking night and day. There's so many similarities, but, like, this moves at, like, 1,000 miles a minute. We're going through, like, so much stuff so quickly, and so many emotions are happening so fast, or getting to a boiling point, and then jumping over so fast. Like the fact that he was ready to kill Sung Woo in this is, like, that's very different from, like, Kaiji of, like, been like many more seasons of this in Kaiji, and we're still not up to that point yet of like Kaiji willing to like kill somebody. So like there's vast differences. You know, this again, it's going through it pretty quickly through all like the stages of human grief. It's going through like just the characters' plots very quickly into that, whereas like Fukumoto is a snail's pace. We are going to spend multiple chapters, multiple episodes on like every little movement people make, because the tiniest little thing matters in these games. I mean, the author of Kaiji did Akagi, which had an arc that lasted like 20 years or something. So and that's just like one game. Like imagine one game of Squid Game, but it lasted 20 years of our time. So like comparing the two is night and day. They are so vastly different, but there is still a lot of similarities as well. So this is just me to plugging Kaiji again, saying if you really enjoyed Squid Game, please go read Kaiji, go watch Kaiji, go watch Animal World, go watch any of that shit. You know, any of them are good. There's not like the best starting point for Kaiji, I would say, is honestly Animal World. I would say start with Animal World, then go to the anime, then switch over to the manga after season 2. That's what I would say to do. But yeah, so I love that, like, you know, after you've won the gamble and then now we still have all this time left in the episode, like, I'm already prepped with that because of Kaiji, but again, we're just going through this so fast that it's like, damn, like, this is, I don't know, it's so interesting to me because I've read Kaiji for so many years that I've gotten to the point of, like, imagining what the end of the game, like, end of the whole series sort of stuff is going to be like, and that's kind of what we got with Ilnon right there, which is, like, you know, something that I've been waiting to get for so long, and then I've finally gotten it in this series, is this really weird feeling. Like, I don't know, it's really interesting, but I don't know how to talk about it, because it's so tied into a whole nother series, but it is something that it's, like, I was prepped for it, and even still, it, like, fucking blew me out. I cannot believe that. Like, he is, like, the one we didn't see get shot. Like I said, we saw him get shot in the head, but we heard a gunshot, but that doesn't mean he got shot in the head. Whereas the other ones, we saw straight up get shot in the head, which honestly surprised the fuck out of me, because they were such main characters that I was like, damn, I didn't want to see that. And yeah, the whole bank scene where he's, like, asking to borrow the money again, just like the beginning. Oh, very well done. You know, tying up all of our other characters, like, you know, like, also, that we didn't really tell Sungwoo's mom, like, what had happened or anything like that. Same with Chio, we didn't tell him anything, so, like, I mean, what do you tell them, you know? What is he expected to say? What's he gonna do? But at the same time, not telling them, I mean, it's fucked either way. You tell them it's fucked, you don't tell them it's fucked. Yeah, it's just... But yeah, and I think, like, it's good that Sungwoo killed himself there at the end. Like, this would have been a bad end if they were both like, alright, we did all this and no money and everything. Like, you can't fall into the sunken cost fallacy, but it would also, as the thing you're watching, just hurt to see your main character like, oh, so they got nothing from all that. But then at the same time, we still get a year of him living, well, as if he didn't win, you know, as if he got no money. And that's fine. And again, people like seeing these games, but the thing that interested them the most, the thing that they found the most fun, was the fact that Ji-hoon was willing to give up the money. That was the... and cancel the game. Like, that was the thing that they were like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I love this. But... Whereas, again, most of the death games I've seen, the people will be like, oh, I hate this. This is shitty. How... I want to see them turn on each other. But again, that's not what these people give a shit about at all. They don't care about the emotions. They just want to see people die, or they want to see, you know, something surprising, something they haven't seen before. And apparently that is being nice. Yeah. His mom dying. Holy shit. I was not expecting it to get that bad. Like, I was like, well, at least he's going to have his mom to live with, and he can look after her and spend the money on her. Nope. He's got fucking nobody. Which also explains why he's willing to go back in this game. But also, he was assuming he was going to go see his daughter and everything like that. And then, nope. I'm just like, never mind. Sorry, I'm not going to see you. I gotta do another death game. Yeah, I can't get over how terrible Ilnon is. Like, just how absolutely the worst person ever he is. Like, again, I've seen so many of these, you know, extremely old dude who's so old that they're barely even alive anymore, and they have the most money that you could ever possibly imagine. I mean, and that's not even true. That's not even true. Like, he does not even have anywhere close, assumingly, to the amount of wealth that, like, real life people have, which is always also crazy to wrap my mind around. Like, these people are so unbelievably wealthy, but then to put it in my mind of, like, I know that, like, there is no fictional character who is as wealthy as rich people in real life, which is insane. But we can't even imagine somebody to be as rich as the people that are rich in our own world. But, like, still, I've seen so many people in this, you know, I would say Zaizen is maybe the only character I've ever seen who has come close to the amount of wealth that somebody has had in real life. That was also from Fukumoto Series 0. But yeah, the villain there, Zaizen, is probably the only person I've seen who's had wealth comparable at all to the billionaires we have. And that is because he had trillions, but even then, that is trillions in a lot of other stuff. It's not like specifically his own net worth or whatever. But still, you know, it comes close. Either way, I've seen so many of these types of characters, and still, they all have this very specific, like, it is the fact that he thinks himself to be not a bad person. Like, you know, he knows what he's doing is bad, but he also twists it around, and he doesn't think like, oh, I'm doing something good. Like, I'm glad we didn't go down the route of him thinking like, oh, I'm giving them a chance to blah, 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 whatever, like what Frontman was saying. But, I mean, to be fair, Frontman is somebody who is in debt and is now running an entire death game organization, so of course he's gotten disillusioned to the point of thinking like, oh, they gave me a chance, now I'm super rich, even though you're murdering people every day now. But, again, the fact that he thinks what he's doing is fine, and, like, you know, like, we're playing this, like, sweet music while he is talking about just the most depraved shit in the world. Like, you know, also, like, one of the most, like, I've seen so many of these types of characters, and yet somehow they haven't even come close to the amount of selfishness that Ilnan has. And the fact that he was in the room with all of them, and playing these games with all of them for this entire time, and still thinks of them as smelly human pieces of trash, is the most, like there's no change in this guy. He is just from the beginning, and like there's plenty of seeds that were planted throughout where I was like, yeah, I like Ildon, but he's got so, like, you know, him talking up to Ji-hoon about like being so spoiled, and like, you know, oh, I bet your father gave you lots of spankings because I did the same thing and everything like that. And it's funny because Ji-hoon is asking for chocolate milk in a death game, but at the same time, just the notion itself is still kind of shitty, you know? And it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, it's a death game, but, like, it's the way that he, you know... Either way, there's a little clue that it's like, yeah, he's not entirely a great guy, but he's very good at acting fun, and that's because he was having fun. And so, you know, you just get tricked of like, well, if somebody's having fun, they must be a good person. I mean, that's not what I thought at all at the beginning. At the beginning, I was like, this guy is going to be one of the worst people we've ever seen. He is a terrible, terrible human being. And then I went, oh, okay, never mind. I was surprised. But no, like, he wanted everybody to come back there on their own volition, because he wants to, you know, he doesn't want to have any guilt. He wants to pretend that if they're all coming back with their own volition, it's not like I'm pushing them towards this. It's not like I'm forcing their hand, essentially. No, it's all their own choice. And again, talking about the just like, oh yeah, we all got so rich, and then we all went, oh, now that we're so rich, we're so bored. We need to make other people suffer to be happy. Boy, welcome to capitalism, baby. Welcome aboard. You know, it didn't even dawn on me till just now, but this is literally also the, like, you know, the whole world that we live in is, like, specifically built, like, yeah, like all these fucking games where you go into this room and it's a fabricated room that's painted up and they've got all this shit to make it look like your childhood and everything like that. Like, the world we live in is just a fabricated fucking world built as a monument to boomers' childhoods. And it's like, we still are in this era. Like, we're still living in this era where everything is just trying to keep boomers' childhoods still the same. Like, trying to keep anything from those from changing at all. And, like, that ties so much into his whole character. Like, that's what this whole thing was. Just a way for him to be like, no, I hate getting old. I want to be a child again. And everybody's gonna die to let that happen. And just, like, again, the suffering of other people so that way your childhood stays intact and you don't have to be like, oh no, things are changing. And again, like, thinking that, yeah, like the rich people thinking that they're better than everybody else. Meanwhile, the only way they're able to have fun is with the lower class. Like, the lower class are the ones that bring them joy. Being rich brings them nothing at all. And yet they act like they're better, despite the fact that, you know, that. But yeah, I overall absolutely loved this season. Fucking fantastic. It's not like my favorite death game or anything like that, but it's definitely very high up there. And again, what I constantly talk about with the in-between stuff is some of my favorite stuff. I think also, like, to be fair, that scene with the fucking girl calling the cops on the homeless guy, it really took the wind out of my sails. Like, that just undercuts the whole message, and like that really brought it down a full letter grade at least. Like, to do 9 whole episodes and then to undercut your entire message is an insane choice. I don't know how this went through multiple forms of people watching this and being like, yeah, this makes sense. A girl calling the cops on a homeless guy? Yeah, that's fine. That's how we should end our series. Oh, man. But yeah, again, highly recommend Kaiji. Go read Kaiji. Go watch Kaiji. Go watch all my Fukumoto shit. It's the backbone of this channel. I need more people to go watch it. Go check it out, please. I will see you guys for hopefully that. I'll see you for that. Get the fuck out of here.